Hey guys, Salty Sicilian here. As always, my channel is a place where we discuss balancing changes and mechanics and standing up for the new player base, the casual guys, but today I want to talk about something a little bit different. It's something I don't like to talk about very much, but I wanted to make a video about the current state of Tarkov and the prevalence of cheaters. I don't even really like discussing cheats because honestly, I just try to ignore it, but that's really not even a healthy way to cope with it. I'm probably in denial about how many times I've been cheated on. I tend to give people way too much credit and I never really call hacks, but that's severe copium. I'd say it's copium. Yeah. Look, cheating is a growing business and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And cheat devs are incredibly dedicated to getting past anything that stands in their way. It's not as simple as just get a better anti-cheat. Well, BSG, why don't you just get a better anti-cheat? Blah, blah, blah. It can't be that simple. It's not, because if so, they would. I'm not a software engineer. I'm not an anti-cheat developer. I'm not super knowledgeable about that. But I can tell you it cannot be that simple because the biggest games in the world, the biggest companies in the world still struggle with it. However, I think there are things that BSG could do that would not only help fight the good fight, but it's also about making us, the legitimate player base, feel better about the whole situation. I think Battlestate Games desperately needs to pour some resources into this fight. And Tarkov is one of the most punishing games you can possibly die in, right? So cheating should be the highest priority. I would not complain a bit if BSG completely stopped releasing new content for an entire year just to work on maybe a Operation Health, so to speak. So here are some examples of what I'd like to see that would help accomplish those things. Kill cams and a raid playback system. The thing about cheaters in Tarkov is you could never really know if who killed you is legit or not. You have no way of knowing. You would never even know if there was actually rare loot items that were in spawns that you checked, but they had already sucked them up. And sure, now we have the ability to check players' profiles after they kill us, and we can see, oh, maybe it looks legit, maybe it doesn't, but that's not really a true indication. A good cheater that knows the game could totally hide the fact they're cheating. They play so carefully that you would never be able to tell just by looking at their stats. It is only the active gameplay that would tell you the whole story. And so we really need some kind of raid playback or kill cam system after the raid is over that comes to us in a message. We need to be able to look back over a raid when it's over. Imagine how much information that would actually give you. Like, imagine the things that you could see, how much the cheater would have to work about thinking about every moment. Everything he does needs to look legit. Not just how he kills someone or not just what his stats are, but everything he does needs to look legit. That is way more pressure on the cheater himself. However, with a raid playback system like that, we would also need the ability to report suspicious activity. So I would hope that there would be a report player function in the UI of that in some kind of way. Obviously, but BSG sometimes totally drops the ball on things like that. I could see them releasing a raid playback and then there's not even a way to report it or something stupid like that. But the major issue that I see with that is it would be an overload of submissions. Like, I imagine there would be thousands and thousands of submissions. And people would have to sift through those because no one can see it, but humans have to be able to see it, right? We would need some kind of like player overwatch system where only the long-term trusted players of the game could really sift through the submissions and make sure that only like the nail in the coffin videos get through. I know there's been a lot of negativity around the addition of microtransactions into Tarkov recently, but the thing is, like, if they need financial resources to be able to build a system like this, which it would take, then this is an outlet for them to get that money. I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it because maybe they will spend it correctly. Maybe. Anyway, imagine that this worked and we had this system. We identify a cheater. We submit the video. The cheater then gets banned. And now what? Well, I think you know what. These guys are little dopamine fiends who can't stop. They're not gonna stop right there. They're just going to go buy a new account. And why wouldn't they? So that's where it brings me to my next point, and this is where it's going to get really controversial. How can we stop them from coming back? I look at cheaters kind of like addicts in a way. Banning them is like sending them to rehab, right? But that's really only a small part of the battle. Keeping them from getting back into the game, that's the real hurdle. We would need to actually stop the individual from being able to buy the game again. And hardware ID is just spoofed. I mean, most cheats, I think, come with like a hardware ID spoofer. So I don't even think that that's really even working anymore. It would take a bit of privacy invasion to really accomplish what it's needed to stop someone to come back to Tarkov. But listen, if we are not willing to go further than the cheat developers are willing to go to fight the fight, then we are gonna lose it no matter what. And I'm talking about trying to tie a personal identity to the account. Not hardware, not an email, but a personal identity to the battle state account. So how would we do that? I'm thinking a phone number that is legitimate, that you would have to use as like two-factor authentication to be able to have an account, to be able to buy an account. And then once you have that account, that phone number is tied to it. And yeah, so what if, okay, they get banned and then they just get their friend's phone number and now they get another account? Well, what if we tied Face ID in some way to the authentication of that phone number for the battle state account? Like I said, I'm talking about some really invasive stuff here. If you have any other ideas about how to tie someone to their account, I'd love to hear them, because I think that's what it takes. That's what it takes to get the cheater to not be able to come back. And I know that I'm going into a territory that people would not like. There would probably be a total uproar, and everyone would be so pissed about the lack of privacy. And look at what BSG is trying to do now. We hate you, BSG. Now you're trying to invade our privacy. But I don't see how else we can secure those accounts. And honestly, I think if you're a legitimate player with a legitimate account, and you've only had one account your whole life, why would you be worried about that? I don't know about you guys. I'm not that interesting of a person. I don't really care about some of that data being given to BSG. I don't know. Maybe I'm just stupid. I don't see the problem. But you got to see that that's why it's not a fair fight, because cheat developers do not play fairly to accomplish what they are trying to do. We're not playing on the same level here. We have to go further than what you'd be comfortable doing to be able to stop it. We would have to collectively agree to sacrifice some privacy for the greater good. I don't have the statistics to truly back this up, but I feel pretty strongly that most Tarkov cheaters today are cheaters who have previously been banned and bought another account. Simple as that. And so if we had their personal identity tied to it via Face ID or two-factor authentication some way, that would also solve another issue then. This would also stop the selling of accounts, which I think is the most popular form of RMT today, as compared to some years ago where you could just drop people however much money. I think that more people are selling accounts, and that's the thing, is we need to ban the people, not the accounts. Gear return, a relatively easy way just to soften the blow, at least, of getting killed by a cheater. I mean, if we could just get a message back that says, hey, you got this cheater banned, or you helped get this cheater banned, and it's a care package, it's some kind of like sorry for your troubles package. I don't know if it could be the exact gear that you had lost from that death, or maybe just kind of some sort of standard random package of a decent chunk of money and some guns and ammo or something. I don't know. I don't know how easily they could track what everyone had at that time when they died in that raid, but something to soften the blow, I think, would be at least a sign that BSG cares, and it would just feel a little bit better. Player profiles. So this would be pretty obvious to me, but you've probably seen the thousands of player profile posts that are all over social media, all on Reddit, whatever. I think they even tried to like crack down on that because they're just all over the place. So why is there no system in place? And maybe there is, but it doesn't seem like it. Is there no system in place that, you know, sifts through their player profiles and flags the ones that some really obvious cheese stats? Like, That seems so obvious to me. It would almost blow my mind if they don't have something, some sort of parameters that, like, you know, when they have X this and X that and X this, flag that account, we're watching it. You know, it just seems so obvious to me. If they did not have that and we were to implement it, I would want those parameters, whatever those numbers are, no one should ever know them. You know, BSG would have to completely be quiet about it. They would not want people to know what the parameters would be to, because cheaters they'll avoid it. They'll be like, oh, I need to make sure my KD stays under this. I need to make sure my blah, 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 blah. You know, we should not ever know about that, but that's really something that if it's not there, oh man, does it need to be? Because it seems way too obvious. The fact that some people can post a player profile that has like a 80 KD and, you know, 300 hours and all this stuff, it's just like, what? What? Is no one looking at that? And we can't just find a profile and report it. You got to get killed by the guy. Like, ugh, you know, that doesn't make any sense. RMT. So RMT, I believe, is not the main problem with Tarkov cheaters. It's not. I don't think so, not one bit. I think that maybe initially or some years back, RMT was definitely, it was really easy for them. You know, I mean, you could just drop someone whatever, and yeah, I'm sure that there was websites that sold just about everything you could sell in Tarkov. I'm sure there was, and RMT was pretty huge. I've even killed people in Factory before that had a suspicious amount of high tier ammo. I remember killing this one guy. He had a couple ammo boxes full of 995, and I was like, oh man, okay. Obviously, it's someone ditching a bunch of stuff to somebody else, but I don't think that's the problem anymore. I really don't. Look, EFT is a really hard game, okay? It's punishing. It's no surprise to me that there's cheaters in Tarkov. I don't think they need something like RMT to reach for to be like, all right, now I'm going to cheat. Look at so many other games. There's cheaters in all games. Why wouldn't you just think that people are going to cheat in Tarkov because it's hard? I remember seeing a video recently. I would link it if I knew who it was or where it was, but it was like an interview with a cheater, and their logic is insane. It's insane. It's just, I don't like to die to someone in a bush, or I don't like to get extract camped, or the money goes up and then my happiness goes up. Like, it's just that simple. Like, you could totally squash RMT completely. There's still going to be cheaters in the game. It's still going to grow in popularity because it's like an ego boost thing, man. They want to feel like they're landmark. They just, you know, their friends at Discord are all like, oh man, he's awesome. You know, like, it just, they're low life people, and they just want to feel a little bit better about their lives. Truly, I think that's all it is. And RMT should not really be the main focus, because there's going to be cheaters regardless. I think that we are at a point where BSG has to take some serious action on this. When Rainbow Six went into Operation Health, I don't remember seeing a lot of backlash from the community. I don't think there was. I'm pretty sure that most of us felt like, yes, the game has a lot of problems, and so they are taking time to just address those issues. And I would hope that if BSG does something similar and we get put off from any, you know, new content, new maps, new bosses, new wipe, whatever, for an extended period of time to just address cheating and maybe audio and desync and stairwells and stuff. But regardless, we can't also complain about that. You cannot complain about both. Stop expecting them to be able to fix all issues at once, and I really think that cheating is probably at the top of the list. If anything, we need to give BSG praise and positive feedback if they decide to put some serious effort into this. And you have to understand that Tarkov sales are a very finite resource. And I know that microtransactions were pretty controversial, but you have to look at it as though you're giving them money to support them, and all you can hope at the end of the day is that they use the money appropriately in the right place, which I think we should mutually agree upon is anti-cheat measures. So let's just hope they do the right thing. So anyway, that's it for today's video. Let me know what you think. Let's talk about it, because I'm not an expert in anti-cheat, but these are just some things that I think would simply alleviate the pain to some degree. And I think we have to make some sacrifices to get it where we truly want it, because Escape from Tarkov is an amazing video game, and it will get ruined by cheaters if we don't do something quick. So anyway, you guys have a good one. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And hopefully we can put the cheaters on the back foot eventually. Okay, you guys have a good one. We'll see you on the next video.